Again, it's full spectrum dominance with reporters being arrested in McDonald's, with people being tear gassed. You go to Infowars.com. We have a graphic up there with the photo. First Amendment dismantled in Missouri. With the image of the tear gas and the police coming up and dismantling the mainstream television cameras after shooting them with rubber bullets after announcing, turn your cameras off. Now imagine what they're going to do with all the kill switches built into all the phones and different devices now. They admit they're going to turn them off, and Twitter and Facebook and other systems already are testing to not let us spread the information. That's why everyone has got to keep their old video cameras. Old tech is going to become very valuable in the future, as I've told people for a long time, because Trojan horses of social control premeditatedly are being put in everywhere. Video up on Infowars.com for radio listeners. Ferguson police tell reporters turn off cameras before attacking press with rubber bullets, flashbangs, and tear gas. Police concerned about flash mob violence based on horror movie. Shock video. Ferguson police deliberately tear gas journalist. Ferguson police AWOL for looting. Out in force to crush First Amendment arrest journalist. Video. Ferguson riot police wound reporter in attack on protesters. Yeah, our headline should have been like the Washington Post when their people got attacked. Infowars reporters shot with rubber bullets, attacked. And we go to the man who was hit by rubber bullets and has big bruises from it. That's former Staff Sergeant Joe Biggs, who knows about crowd control and talked about yesterday. This is clearly to stir people up. The Justice Department is there running things, clearly wanting to stir things up like they got caught doing with Trayvon Martin. So I want to get his breakdown on what happened last night. And then Obama's going to pop in and speak. We'll cut to him once he starts. Then we're going to go to Jakari Jackson and others. Thank you for coming on, Joe Biggs. You were truly in wartime last night. I saw you saying that in your report. You've been in a lot of combat. What was it like for you to see this in America?
Joe Biggs, Infowars.com in Ferguson, Missouri. We're actually standing right here where the battle took place last night. This is literally a war zone, or was a war zone last night. If you look around, there's a little triangle area right in the middle of the road. That's where we were standing when you could hear the turn off your cameras, stop recording, and then the vehicles approach us. Alex, I'm telling you right now, this clearly disappoints me to see this. I mean, I am nauseated at the psyop that they used on us. They are trying to take something and racially divide everybody. I mean, it was ridiculous. And then they were targeting journalists, purposely trying to find them and arrest them and take their footage. It was, I just don't even know what to say. I mean, this place still smells like tear gas because they gassed this place so bad. The cloud was for a mile back in either direction you went. It was just mind-blowing, explosions everywhere. Like when I was running around over here, and when the tear gas came at me, we got lost. I got separated from Josh and Jakari, and it was just complete and total chaos, just a battle. And I started running in a direction, and I made a mistake because I actually ran towards the riot police. And as I started going across the parking lot, they shot me right in the side over here. And if you want, you can kind of see some of the bruise right now. It's pretty tender and sore.
And I was watching the live feeds last night like it was a made-for-TV movie or something at home on Infowars.com over Ustream and other systems. And, I mean, they would literally walk up to you guys from like 100 yards away and say, get out of here, even though you were retreating, and just wanted to shoot an American with these rubber bullet shotgun rounds. You were just holding one of them up, Joe. Show the viewers that again. Describe
those are the rounds that come out of this. That's what hit me. We actually found this right over here in the area where I was shot. These are very hard rounds. I mean, it was very painful. I mean, it took me to my knees, and I hit the ground, and a bunch of the locals from the neighborhood ran over, grabbed me, and helped me up and said, "Are you okay?" And as I was able to take in a breath, I got shot with gas again, and all I breathed in was just a full, fresh hit of gas. And I was just throwing up, crawling. And these guys are sitting there beating their shields, yelling, you know, they're just coming after us. And, you know, when I looked around, all I could see was smoke around me. I had no idea where I was. It was nuts just to see America look like Fallujah, Iraq. And the people were fine. People were protesting peacefully. What incited this entire incident was they decided to bring in MRAPs, snipers. The snipers were on top of the vehicles calling out people in the crowd. They were trying to antagonize the peaceful protesters. They wanted someone to do something so they could, you know, eventually attack us. There were cops on the side sitting there holding their batons, twisting it back and forth with a smile on their face, just sick. Jakari kept saying, "Why are you smiling? Why are you smiling? You know, you need to be professional." And this guy was just ready to hit someone. I just can't believe that I'm in America right here. Like, this is something I expect in Iraq, Afghanistan, and some third world country, but not in America. This is just...
Well, from what I know from talking to a lot of Marines and Army people and others, you don't ever want to act like that and turn the locals against you, even if you're fighting an enemy that's amongst them, that this would be the thing tailor-made to turn a foreign population against you. But this is our own people, traitors really, amongst us doing this. And so I was hoping that the feds were ordering them to do this, which we know they are, but I didn't know that they were taunting again last night, wanting somebody to throw a single bottle, as did get thrown, as a pretext to then set the precedent to attack reporters, just like they set the precedent to put the entire city of Boston under martial law, just like they set the precedent in Katrina to gun confiscate. This is a plan. They want war against the American people. They see us as basically Al-Qaeda.
I walked up right to the line, Alex, and I was just, my feet are covered in blisters right now. I mean, my feet are like literally I can just peel off layers of skin. And I got to a point where I couldn't even stand up anymore yesterday. And I sat down right in front of the MRAP. And right as I sat down, it might have been a minute, a bottle whizzed right over my head and broke in front of me. And I'm sitting there laying on the ground like, oh my God, these guys are about to shoot me, because that dropped right in front of me. And the next thing you know, a Molotov cocktail got thrown over my right shoulder, basically. Jakari saw the person that did that. It hit the top of the car wash over here, if you want to look. Luckily,
I bet money that was a federal provocateur, because they always do the Molotovs, and we're always catching them. I mean, what do the police think's going to happen when they end up killing some more people, and then folks don't pull out Molotov cocktails, and the real thing starts up?
Well, there's an article in RT. They're saying that they are pulling the Ferguson Police Department. They are not going to be using them anymore. They're going to bring in outside forces. That was in an article today.
Well, I've already seen state police out there, and they say they've been federalized 2 days ago.
The people I saw last night did not look like regular cops. I mean, these guys were special forces, things like that. Big, jacked up guys. You know, they had the special forces type gear. I mean, and I just can't get that image out of my head, Alex, of that guy just twisting that rod in his hand like he just wanted something to happen. And that's where the bottle actually busted, was right, like maybe feet from him. Because people were tired of it. People kept coming over and saying, "Hey, why are you doing that? Get that smile off your face. You need to be professional." I mean, this is sick. And
well, I mean, also at a fundamental level, it's the armored vehicles, the body armor, the tanks, the aiming the lasers at men, women, and children, the loaded guns. It's so cowardly. It'd be like watching an 800-pound gorilla beat up a 1-year-old baby, and then they're smiling about it. It's just so dishonorable. It's so cowardly.
I got chased over here, and what happened is you can see a neighborhood back here off into the back. I got chased out of here, and I had to start hopping fences. I'm literally running through people's backyards. There were 2 young teenagers who helped me out who are from the neighborhood, and they said, "Hey, you need to get out of here. They're looking for you guys." So I started hopping fences, and I'm running through, and I'm right in line with the MRAPs and the militarized police force going down the road. Jakari was just in front of them, and Josh was off to the left. And I'm running down through the woods to the side trying to keep up with everything. And the wind was down my way, so I got all the gas. I'm sitting here running through a cloud of smoke, and all you can see is just red flashes and explosions and gunshots. And it sounded like a lot of them were some regular actual gunfire. I mean, it was very intense. I mean,
they've killed another guy the other night, probably like the other fella. Well, they've all been shot in the back. That's what real men do. Did you guys act like this even in Iraq and Afghanistan? Because from what I know, that the military wanted to win those wars. They didn't want to do stuff that would start a bigger one.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, I'd say 95% of the people I ever came across in the military, these are guys that were just there for beneficial reasons, like they wanted to go to college. They wanted to provide for their kids because they came from bad upbringings. They didn't have anything, and their only way to possibly have something in their life to look forward to was to join the military. They had big hearts. And these are people, when we were over there in Iraq and Afghanistan, they would sit there like, this stuff's not right, and if something was bad, they were like, I don't want any part of this. You might have one or two guys that just had that sadistic personality that just really wanted to go out and just start jumping people for no reason. But these guys, everybody they brought out here last night, were a bunch of sadistic nut jobs. It was crazy. These guys were ready to attack. That's what they came out for. What were we going to do? Throw cardboard at them? A set of keys? These guys
it's just like when I was, it's just like when the Dallas police chief says, yep, you're right. You guys are supposed to be able, the judges, ruling First Amendment, now that the official events are over for the anniversary of JFK, you can go in. And then we go in, and they send out riot police from the county to physically attack even children. And at the point they started attacking this little girl, I said, that's it, guys. We're going to go ahead and have to fight the cops. Then they gave them the order to back off. So they just wanted to dominate us. And then as soon as I said, all right, man, we can't let them. They just attacked the 7-year-old girl. I took my jacket off. I said, let's kick their ass. And I was going to. And then they got a radio and all pulled out. It's literal cowards. Literal cowards. I mean, I've never seen anything this cowardly and pathetic. This nation is pathetic. And again, I want to tell all the cops, you work for a criminal, illegitimate government. Okay? And in a place like Austin, Texas, where they've had some questionable shootings, they have a big community thing. They try to investigate it. They don't bring out armored vehicles and beat shields and put lasers on people, or East Austin would be burning. And again, I'm not even saying our police are perfect, but compared to this, this is how you stir people up, Joe. And you know that from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, that's what they were purposely trying to do. Like I said, they were the ones that were inciting the violence. They were the ones who wanted this to happen. Now look at some of the chaos that happened. This is a pretty thick sign. After the rounds started flying and stuff last night, it literally punctured holes. Stuff was hitting that. Canisters were shooting at it, knocking that down. Across the road over here, there's you can see the fence they're trying to put back the family. The riot police knocked it down, trying to run after people. They ran into that person's backyard and knocked the fence down. And just a minute ago, the family was out there trying to put the fence back on. These were things that were getting thrown by them. Yesterday was a complete and total war zone. And I just want people to know they've got to wake up, because this is not just going to happen in Ferguson. This is going to start happening everywhere if we don't start doing something about it. The people out here were just screaming, like, why are we in a martial law state? Women were crying, like, why is this happening to us? Literally, there was a group of ladies that were sitting down in the crowd, crying and praying, saying, stop pointing guns at us. Stop pointing guns at our kids. We just want to grow up safe.
Well, they built this giant police state up to fight Al-Qaeda, and Joe, who is IS made up of, and who gave weapons to ISIS. Yes, indeed. Our so-called government is evil. And you cannot make excuses for any of this stuff that's going on. And when you've got police multiple nights pointing guns at people, trying to stir them up, clearly it's going to start escalating. And this is being run by the Justice Department. I wish there was some way to de-escalate this, but they've got the psychological profiles of all these state troopers and feds they brought in. These are people that enjoy attacking innocent folks and attacking, mainline camera people. This is designed undoubtedly to cause an explosion.
Well, this was a war on race. That's why they brought Al Sharpton out here. I spoke to some of the people in the crowd, and I said, hey, did you have a chance to see him? And they were like, they use a little bit more colorful language, but they said, screw Al Sharpton, what has he done for us? And I said, well, what do you think about Lord and Savior President Obama? They said, screw that guy, he hasn't done a thing for us. He's like, they've never made any change for us. All they do is try to racially divide us. We're sick of this. We need real leadership.
That's right. That's why they're run by the Ford Foundation to create racial division, and all the Hollywood movies do that. And that's the open job of Quentin Tarantino and, of course, Robert Rodriguez, who meet with the president and have been offered hundreds of millions of dollars of government funding to create all the racial division with movies like Django Unchained and machete, and all the rest of it. This is the PSYOP. And I know you've got those interviews. Gateway Pundit wrote about that as well. We need the video of that, because just Gateway Pundit, just has the Ustream of it. We need you to go out today and get HD interviews with those folks and get those up on Infowars.com. That's powerful truth, showing that it's not Democrat versus Republican, black against white, that folks are waking up and their leader is not, like MSNBC is saying, Al Sharpton, the FBI operative, there to, again, play the part of black against white. We're going to go to break and come back with Jakari Jackson and others. In fact, let's go ahead and get Jakari on the line with us right now as we get ready to go to break.
General, what do you think about the FBI saying that there was a terror alert on Monday about a potential Fort Hood situation?
The police are shoving people, shoving Alex, shoving the crowd.
Here we go, folks. I'm being assaulted.
Whether it's the radio show, the news websites, documentary films, or the nightly news, InfoWars is the tip of the spear.
Is this another false flag stage attack to take our civil liberties and put more homeland security while sticking their hands down on the pants on the streets?
It's up to us to set brush fires in the minds of men and women everywhere. And that's what PrisonPlanet.tv is designed to do.
You watch, the Assad regime is going to be blamed or accused of using chemical weapons against the so-called rebels.
What we see now is a war against reality. It's a war against the truth.
It's more vital than ever that supporters of freedom become members of PrisonPlanet.tv and share their membership with up to 11 friends and family. Visit InfoWarsNews.com today. Become a member, share your membership, and help take the InfoWar to the next level. Washington Post, Al Jazeera, Infowars.com. Reporters are being hit with rubber bullets, arrested, flashbanged for being 500 yards back with TV lights doing a report. Our whole lives, we've grown up in the whole world. Even in third world countries, you don't see the police when they ride by on riot horses attacking crowds of people. In martial law countries, they don't go after the press. This is over the top. Well, reporters should have followed their orders or turned their cameras off. Turn their cameras off? This is the government that surveils us illegally. And then we're on public streets trying to document what's happening. When they get a bunch of goons who want to start a war. A bunch of cowards who want to fight an old man tied down, basically. Imagine a UFC fight where there's like an 89-year-old man with his arms and legs tied, and then Brock Lesnar in his prime comes out and starts body slamming him. I mean, you would just boo Brock Lesnar. But only in America is the image of goat farmers being bombed by drones who were innocent while Al-Qaeda comes and attacks. And they bomb the farmers to make their sons go join Al-Qaeda to then have an ISIS force they arm. The globalists farm them. It's psych warfare. They go out and attack the blacks so they'll go join Al Sharpton and the Democrats. They make us color in the spaces by the numbers. They social engineer us. They sit back, they live, we sleep. They play their games, we buy all their games, we buy into their trends and what they say is cool, and their football and their media and all their crap. And we all lose. The cops, the whites, the blacks, everybody. Jakari Jackson will be back at the bottom of the next hour. James O'Keefe's only on for 2 segments, and Josh Owens will have in-depth interviews with him. But Jakari, this segment and the next, I got to get your take on being in that war zone. I know you went up there, totally non-biased, and so did Josh and everybody. And boy, I want your take on this because I got to tell you, I am just upset.
Upset is not the word. This is Jakari Jackson for Infowars.com, reporting from Ferguson, Missouri. Now, I'll give you guys kind of the long version of the story, Alex. We started way down the street. Maybe we can get a shot. This is where the Quick Trip is. The initial protest from yesterday, about 4 or 5 o'clock it started, was down this street past, I guess maybe you can see that public storage, that orange building over there. That's where we were initially congregated. The protesters peacefully assembled, and the officers, they come out because the protesters were in the street. They say, protesters, can you please get into the street? And initially we were streaming live on Ustream, And I gave the cops credit because they came out here initially in relatively small numbers. I saw maybe about 10 or 12 guys initially.
But they do that, again, to act like they were reasonable.
Yeah, and that's the whole point, because they come out here with the smaller force. I said, okay, good. Maybe everybody's learning that this isn't World War III. A few minutes later, or maybe about an hour or so later, they come out with the big MRAP trucks. So I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Protesters get out the street because they're blocking the street. The protesters get on the sidewalk, and then the cops come block the street all the way across in both directions, down that street and down this street. And what you see me holding in my hand, I'll get to in just 1 second.
So again, they were kettling you to block you off.
Yes, and then they start funneling us back here to the original location where Joe Biggs talks about the choke point right in front of the Quick Trip, where they have barricades on both sides. I guess they're concerned about somebody attacking them, which is pretty ridiculous if somebody's going to come on with a full-on assault. So basically, they push us back here to this location where we are now. People are having somewhat of a block party in the street. A church pulls up, is broadcasting, preaching a message from the back of a truck, handing out water. And, you know, and somehow the police are concerned about this.
This is joke level, and it just shows a government that thinks it's God, and they put people in there that think they're God. And why not? They've gotten trillions of dollars stolen. The borders are wide open. The government put us under UN control, and this is how it works. Jakari, I'm going to bring you back at the bottom of the hour, but I want you guys to go out and get these interviews with folks that I was told were telling you guys that, you know, they don't see Obama as their savior either. In fact, what Joe Biggs said, he was told, is the exact quote that's being quoted by the Gateway pundit, but I want to document that. Protesters lash out at Obama in Sharpton. That's important to bring conservatives and liberals together against, you know, all this garbage, and don't let them make it a political, you know, like the pro-Obama forces are pro-demonstrators, and then the pro-police people are Republicans. That's how they want to divide this. I believe they're clearly trying to escalate this. Jakari, give me your take on what you think's happening here and just overall what you thought of the night. Then we'll come back to you in 30 minutes. After James O'Keefe joins us, you can tell the whole story and give us a tour.
Well, you know, it's a very, it was a horrible situation, just to put it in one word. If I could use one word, it was a horrible situation, because as Joe Biggs pointed out, one guy throws a bottle that doesn't really even get close to the police, and they say you are no longer peaceably assembled. Now you have to clear the area. Even though maybe you saw one of our earlier reports, they had at least 70 guys, heavy armor SWAT guys with the riot shields and all of that. If they would have sent those guys out, if they would have made it a priority to get that one guy, they could have caught him. And then a second guy comes and he throws a Molotov cocktail that hits the car wash over here. And if they wanted to, they could have made it a priority to go get that one guy, but they didn't want to do that. They wanted to say because two guys initially started this thing, it started the conflict, everybody now has to go home. And then the semantics and the games that they play, telling you that you have to go home. We've documented that in multiple videos starting the first night we got here, and they're saying there is no curfew. They started saying that at about 4 or 5 p.m., or actually I guess it's 6 p.m.
Why don't you just start saying you're illegal aliens, and then they would cook you dinner and maybe change any baby's diapers?
Right, but let me show you this, Alex. This is what makes me so angry. This is what was used against us. You can see the triple chase. This is the smoke grenade, and maybe we can get a look at this. It says smoke by trained and authorized personnel only. So if you're trained and authorized to use this against unarmed American citizens, that is perfectly fine. And I'll be the first one to tell you, there were some guys out here throwing bottles and stuff at the police. But for the 3 people I saw throwing Molotov cocktails at the police, I personally had 3 smoke canisters fired at me in rapid fire right down this street. So I saw 3 Molotovs, and I had them shoot 3 of these at me at very close range.
Let's be clear. They were targeting press that has a right to be there.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, look, I bet money that the guys throwing the Molotovs work for them. And the cops may not even know that. I mean, I'm telling you, false flag. If I had to make a guess,
I think
Eric
those
Holder.
guys were trying to kick some stuff up. I can't go as far as say they work for any particular person, but I think they definitely wanted a conflict. And so the police, they gassed the whole area. They're telling people to return to their homes. I met a sweet old lady out here who actually gave me directions because I had to get off this main road where our vehicle was.
Well, Jakari, I don't want to interrupt you. We're going to give you the floor at the bottom of the hour, and then we'll also talk to Josh Owens. Hold all that. Tell it all in one story. You guys get in the car, get some air conditioning, take a break. Then we'll talk to you, and at 1 o'clock you can go get some lunch. We're going to talk for the rest of the hour with Jakari Jackson and Josh Owens and Joe Biggs, who are there in Ferguson. We do have the clip of Obama's response coming up. that actually sounds very reasonable and fair, what he said. But again, it's all a disingenuous psyop. I predicted he would do just this last hour. Before he spoke, I said that Obama would come out and do exactly what he has now done. Well, you know, this is a local issue, so we weren't really in control of it, and we need to investigate, and the police need to be transparent about what happened to Michael Brown, who was shot last weekend, and we also need people not to use this as cover for looting or vandalism and, you know, for attacking police officers. There's never a good time to do that. And then he goes on to say, but we also need to not have the police attacking peaceful protesters and the press just doing their job. But meanwhile, the surrogates are out there all running the PSYOP. While he's calling for calm on Trayvon Martin, the Justice Department's in there actually organizing the demonstrations, trying to get riots going. Because if he can get a bunch of black people rioting around the country, that'll get folks off the subject of Fast and Furious and open borders and the rest of it. And, I mean, it is a real pleasure, and I relish seeing Jakari Jackson and Joe Biggs and Josh Owens do an incredible job out there in Ferguson, Missouri. And to see them get shot with rubber bullets and hit with tear gas and to have the courage to do what they did and to be honorable and have the moral authority through it, it is so good to have kinsmanship with people like that. That's what life's all about. To have a feeling of satisfaction at their chivalry for all of our freedoms. That's what builds a civilization. I mean, the footage we've got in HD that's coming in now from the guys is like something out of a movie. We're showing some of it now. The war zone and how the police have been militarized and prepared for the public. I guarantee you, reading about Western justice and stuff, 150 years ago, one sheriff in a place like Dodge City or Tombstone could have walked, one Texas Ranger could have gone up to a crowd like that in almost every case, talked them down and gotten it to stop by promising to get justice, by bringing community leaders in to see the evidence, by firing a cop or arresting a cop that shot somebody innocent. They would have had respect. This whole thing would have been shut down, right? Bam, just like that. Instead, you see the spectacles like this that could cause this country to burn and start a civil war that the globalists want, that I've been warning you about. Let's go down to the sweltering heat, 105 degrees, in the middle of Missouri with Jakari Jackson. Jakari, tell the story now of what unfolded yesterday. Then we'll talk to our valiant cameraman, Josh Owens.
Jakari Jackson reporting from Ferguson, Missouri. You know, as you just mentioned, Alex, it got pretty hot last night. It's not just the heat from the summer. It was the heat from the flashbang grenades that set this whole thing off. Maybe you can hear behind me all the people driving by. They're honking. They're showing their support for the community. It's a large church group out here who are out here trying to wake people up, not just to the police state, but also trying to get them spiritually ready for the things to come. But going through the story last night, we got here probably about 4 or 5 p.m., and the protesters peacefully at that time were gathered right down the street from where we are. And they were in the street. And the police come up with small numbers. They say, hey, can you guys get out of the street? You're blocking the street. So the protesters eventually get on the sidewalk. That's when they pull up with the big MRAP trucks. And then they're out there, 70-plus guys, heavy armor, batons, helmets, guys on top of the MRAPs with the snipers aimed at people. They didn't just have them on the turns. They were aiming them at people in the crowd. I was standing close enough to them, Alex, where I could hear what they're saying. Hey, look at that guy in the orange shirt. Look at that guy in the red shirt. And I look around, and it's some guy who's, you know, has his hand behind his back stretching like this. But I guess they think that he's reaching for a weapon. And then the guy, another guy, had all the smoke agents, all the chemical agents. Yeah, a lot of support going on out here. So eventually they say you can protest in the daytime. Then they come out and they say you can't protest in the daytime, even though it's 6 p.m. The sun was clearly out. So everybody's standing on the sidewalks. You guys can't stand on the sidewalk. I said, well, sir, this is a public sidewalk, is what we're saying to these guys. And they said, you can't stand here. They eventually. By the way,
do they say sir back to you? No, they don't treat you with respect.
No, they don't do that. So they start pushing myself. They start pushing Joe Biggs. We have to all move back because they're saying if you stay here, you're going to get arrested. So they're shoving us. If you stay here, you're going to get arrested. So they're brutalizing us as they're telling us to get down the street. So eventually we get to the area where we are now. We see all these protesters. Everybody's peaceful in the streets. people were having somewhat of a block party in the
And
middle
by
of
the
the
way,
street.
Jakari, we're showing HD footage you guys have now had a chance to upload to us of
Right.
them training their M4, M16s on peaceful people, even during the daylight. I mean,
That's right.
this is so provocative.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And another thing, Alex, when they were moving the big MRAPs, they kept saying, nobody throw anything. We're like, we're not throwing anything. Nobody throw anything. Nobody was throwing anything at that point. The guy who threw the initial bottle was several hours later. So we're out here because the police have the streets blocked off in both directions. So a church group's out here. There's at least 3 or 4 people out here, 3 or 400 people out here at that time. And so everybody's out here congregating. And then eventually, probably about 2 or 3 hours later, once the sun went down, somebody took it upon themselves to throw a bottle at the police. And because one guy threw a bottle, nobody can have a First Amendment anymore. Even though they had 70-plus heavy armor guys who could have easily ran out here and caught that one guy. No, nobody can be out here because we're no longer peaceably assembled.
Well, Jakari, that's like when one teenage kid's running and is hiding in a boat. They shut down half the city and go in people's houses, grabbing blonde-haired women by the hair, dragging them out and aiming guns at people.
Just like Boston.
Yeah, just like it's all a power grab. That's what this is all about.
Oh, it is a power grab because they're out here power tripping. They're on the loudspeakers. Get back, and then you hear the soft-voiced woman. She says, please turn off your cameras. Or she said, please, just turn off your cameras. And we all look at each other. They say, just turn off your cameras. No, we're not going to turn off our cameras because if you think about all the hostility we got while our cameras are on, how much more when the cameras are off?
Well, you're absolutely right, Jakari, and it's so much more has happened. I mean, now we're getting the HD footage you guys shot in the dark last night. You're in neighborhoods, and they're chasing after people, just like when Rob Dew got arrested in Pittsburgh for the G20. The G20 was over, and they went to the university to find kids out at night in the park eating dinner, and were assaulting women on bicycles,
Right.
and then chasing people into the dorms, attacking them like mad dogs.
That's what it was. It was a mad dog mentality because some of these people, well, not some, many of these people live in this neighborhood right behind me. So they were shooting tear gas and rubber bullets at people standing in their own front yards. And I was with, you guys probably saw when they threw the flashbang at Al Jazeera. I was standing right there when that happened because we all got separated, myself from the rest of the InfoWars crew. And I saw a bunch of camera people. There's also a local NBC affiliate over there as well. I said, okay, they're probably not going to attack us. They see the lights. They see the cameras. No, they said, okay, we see a good lit up target. Let's attack these guys. And they shot the guy from Al Jazeera. So we all take off running because they keep shooting the smoke. And I had to actually hop over somebody's fence. And when you guys saw in the video, they shot 3 flashbangs at me. Bang, bang, bang. So I had to hop over somebody's fence. We're running. We had to run through somebody's yard very briefly to get to the other side. And there's this girl who had inhaled the smoke. And so we had to actually lay her down on the ground. And the rest of us were just trying to get positioned so they wouldn't come after us anymore. But they went all the way down the street. Maybe we can show them, Josh. They started right here back where this black car is, and they just went all the way down this street, just shooting smoke, flashbangs. Going down the street is where we found the ordnance that Joe Biggs was showing you about the rubber bullets, about the gas canisters. All that stuff was going all the way down this street. I mean, like Joe Biggs said, there was a huge plume of smoke going all the way down this street. It no doubt went into this neighborhood behind us. So innocent people who were just out sitting on their front porch had to breathe this as well.
Well, again, Jakari Jackson reporting from Ferguson, Missouri. If you just joined us, Jakari, you guys plan to be there tonight and throughout the next few nights, and we'll get more reporters up there to relieve you. So we need to start setting that up via the weekend. Then I guess if it's still going on, I'll make plans to go up there on Monday. I've got child issues and things I got to take care of this weekend, but who knows? I may have to go up there regardless because it looks like this is starting to escalate. Any word on what we know is coming up tonight?
Well, all I've heard is that I believe it was reported by RT that the local police are no longer going to police this area, even though they didn't really seem like police to me. They seem more like a invading military force. So who's going to replace them if that is true? I'm not sure if it's going to be National Guard. I'm not sure if it's going to be some private outfit. I don't know. So we have to wait and see at this point. But we have seen local police, state troopers and so forth driving up and down here. They're not blocking anything off at this point. They usually start the blockade probably about 3 or 4 o'clock. So we'll probably find out around that time who's actually going to be out here, quote, policing the area.
Lights out, America. Lights out at 6 o'clock. Get in your houses and prepare to work tomorrow. Land of the free, home of the brave.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Group. Today I'd like to talk about the war on women. You've experienced and heard about the benefits of super male vitality. Now, the new formula has arrived. Introducing the new Super Female Vitality. I have specifically designed this formula to help the body naturally regulate itself without the use of artificial hormones. Key ingredients chosen from the highest quality sources. Each of these ingredients works synergistically with the female body in order to maximize overall vitality. You've heard the reviews and the feedback on how the original Super Male Vitality has revitalized relationships. Now, both the man and the woman can have the revitalization in their own bodies with Super Male Vitality and Super Female Vitality. Secure your Super Female Vitality today from our limited stock at InfoWarsLife.com.